Welcome to the Worthy Revolution, a community of inspired, heart-focused, faith-founded, community-centered, success-minded women impacting the world through their mission, their business, and their stories. Hi, I'm Mimika Cooney, and welcome to Worthy TV, the home of the Worthy Revolution, where women are impacting the world. Today, we're talking about LinkedIn sales secrets. Karen Yankovich is a conversational conversion expert. She rocks a variety of social media platforms like Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, and is an internationally recognized leader on LinkedIn. Karen guides career professionals, executive startups, and established brands to more profitable engagement through strategic conversations. Karen is a popular trainer and speaker, and her advice has been featured on Career Talk Radio, Daily Worth, Social Media Examiner, and the Huffington Post. She's a whiz at teaching her clients on how to build authentic rapport with their clients, prospects, influencers, and the media, and how to leverage those conversations into transformative brand expansion, service, and sales channels. So welcome, Karen, to Worthy TV. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Oh, Mika, I'm so excited to be here. Always fun to talk to you.
Exactly. You're fabulous, darling. Now, Karen has been a previous guest on my previous show, Mimika TV, and we had the fabulous opportunity to meet in person to have a gorgeous dinner in Florida not so long ago. So we had
that was fabulous.
Exactly, totally fabulous. So we've had some exciting conversations, and I'm thrilled to be able to bring Karen to you because she's got some really great ideas and strategies to really help you in your business, because I know us ladies, we sometimes get confused about what to do and where to go and what steps to take. So Karen is awesome at really laying it out and showing us, with bite-sized steps so you can actually implement things. So as I mentioned in the headline, we are talking about LinkedIn sales secrets, because let's talk a little bit about how before we get into the juicy bits, why LinkedIn, but even before that, just give us a quick rundown of who you are and how you got here.
Sure. So, I've been in sales most of my life, and I've been in IT sales, so all this geeky stuff, right? I did project management. I designed high-speed data networks for Verizon and other companies, and I eventually owned a small sales organization that was an agent for Verizon. And while I loved all the geeky techie stuff, my sweet spot was coming in for the close, right? Meeting people, getting to know people. In fact, I'm still friends with people that were my clients way back when. Really, having authentic relationships with people but finding the right application for them so that it was a win-win, right? That it wasn't like I'm just shoving a sale down their throat. So a few years ago, I started taking some classes in online marketing and started to build my own social media platforms, and people started coming to me and saying, how did you know how to do that, right? So I realized it was kind of like my sweet spot, right? The geeky, techie stuff and the sales. And so I started to help other businesses with it. But what I quickly learned was that the skills that I learned in my earlier part of my career, where I was doing face-to-face sales, were still the skills that were closing sales, and those doors were getting open for me on LinkedIn. So while social media gave me the visibility that I never would have dreamed of, it's LinkedIn that really helped me land client after client after client. So I started to focus a lot of my work around helping people leverage LinkedIn as a part of their social media brand, actually as the stepping off point, the first part of their social media marketing campaigns. And that kind of gets me to where we're at today.
So really taking, all the skills that you've learned and understanding that, when social media is a tool, but how do we still put that? Because I think that's a lot of us. I know for us women, not many of women that I know really love sales, like putting yourself out there, because we're going to put ourselves up for rejection, right? They could say no. But if we don't put ourselves out there and ask for the sale, because it's awesome being fabulous and totally being awesome and everyone loves you and all those likes and followers are great, but if it doesn't lead to sales, what's the point, right?
Exactly. And the no's, the no's are something we should be celebrating, because it means that we are having those conversations with people. And not every conversation with somebody is going to result in a sale, but we don't want that to be. Also, keep in mind that a no is not always a no. A lot of times it's a not right now. So just getting to know people, and maybe it's not their time right now, but staying in touch with them and having a top of mind campaign so they continually see your name. So when they are ready, they'll come to you. So celebrate those no's. Remember that they're not all no's, and many of them are not nows.
Exactly. So we just need to, and that's the thing. It's all about, like you said, it's all about relationships. Social media isn't just, drop a link and run. It's actually massaging a relationship, just like we would in normal life, right? Having tea and coffee and having a fabulous dinner. So awesome. Well, we are going to definitely dive into some great tips that we can use that Karen's going to teach us. But before we do that, I just wanted to share with you that this week's goodie giveaway is kindly donated by Karen, and she's offering one lucky viewer the program Linked Up in 30 worth $200. So tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about LinkedIn and your LinkedIn profile. This program is my DIY service to you. So the people that are in this program, we've had over almost 3,000 people that go through this program. It was initially a 30-day challenge. So there's 30 videos, and they say things like it's day 4. So while it's still considered like there's 30 videos. When you register, you get them all at once, because what we found was people want to maybe want to binge do it, right?
Yeah,
so
like
what it
Netflix.
does is exactly. So each video gives you one little actionable thing to do on your profile, and at the end of the 30 videos, you've got a rock star LinkedIn profile, and you've got access to a private Facebook group. So if you get stuck on your headline or you get stuck on your summary, you can come into that Facebook group, and we can help you rework it, and because it isn't always easy to tell people how great you are.
Exactly.
Right?
So talking about ourselves.
A little support, a little push, right?
Well, for one lucky lady who's going to win that, maybe you need to be in it to win it, and we'll mention this again, but you have to be taking action within the next 7 days of when this interview goes live by liking, sharing, and tweeting. So let's get into the real meaty stuff. So give us some tips of how we can really, get those sales from LinkedIn.
Okay, so let's take it back 20 years again, right? And let's remember, like, if you met somebody, if you were in sales, you dressed up in a dress or a suit, right? You looked really professional. And if you went to a meeting and you were really looking to do business, and there was a couple people there, and one person really looked professional, and you felt really confident giving them their business, and the other person didn't even bother to shave or do their hair or iron their clothes, like immediately you gravitate to the person that makes you feel more confident doing business with them, right? Well, that's still the same in this digital world that we live in. People are Googling us. They want to know more about us before they do business with us. And when they Google us, your LinkedIn profile is going to come up, and you've got to take that opportunity to make them feel like you dressed up for them, like you really are confident, and that you're professional, and you want them to leave that. You want them to be impressed when they land on your profile, and you want them to leave that profile feeling confident in giving you their business.
So it's pretty much your online business card, like how you put yourself out there.
And it's your first. In many cases, it's your first impression.
Exactly, and especially in the corporate field. I mean, we talked about this before we started recording. Like, I haven't leveraged LinkedIn the way that I know that I should, because I feel like it's a whole nother thing I have to get involved in. But it's definitely a different quality of clientele that are on there. It's more professional. So if you definitely are aiming for more like a B2B or a B2C, where people are actually wanting to, hire services and professionals, this is a great place to put you out there. So again, it's avoiding the cheap.
And it's also the place with the highest income, median income across all the social media sites. So it's the place that they can afford to hire you.
Exactly. So give us some tips about how we need to actually put ourselves out there. So we know we need to dress up. So how do we do that in LinkedIn?
So when a lot of people overlook their headline, and your headline is that place right next to your name. And what's going to happen by default is your title experience, so accountant, coach, whatever, that's going to pop up in there by default. But you can override that, and that's the section that, number one, Google reads that section, and number two, if you Google my name, if you put my name, Karen Yankovich, in a Google search, you'll see my headline. So what you want to do in that headline is take that opportunity right up front, right on that first impression, to tell people who you are, who you help, and how you help them. And don't make it about you, make it about them, right? So maybe you think CEO is really an impressive title. Nobody's searching for a CEO. Nobody goes into Google and types in CEO, right? They want to know they're looking for, somebody to help them with their finances, or somebody to help them, they're looking for a life coach, or they're looking for an accountant, or they're looking for, an attorney. So you want to use those words, but you also want to be really specific. For example, if you are a financial planner, you and 45 million other people are financial planners, right? But if your specialty is you help women over 50 create a financial plan that allows them to leave the corporate world comfortably financially, if you can say that in that little headline you have, now you've got people that are paying attention, right? Now you've got like, "Ooh, wait a minute, I need to speak to that person. I need to speak to her, right? So you want to make it all about the person you're trying to help, not about you. And that goes for your whole profile. But think about what people are searching for and put those words in there so that you'll come up as the search result. If you look at mine, you'll see social media, you'll see LinkedIn, you'll see speaker. If someone's looking for a LinkedIn speaker, I want my profile to come up, right? So I use those words in my headline. So take a lot of time on that headline. I know I'm going all on about that, but that's a piece of your profile that's really important. And because it's read by Google, you want to use every single character that you can. So take some time on that and use those keywords and use them, and you can change it if you're not all that comfortable with it. But here's one last thing on your headline. If when you hit send, you don't feel a little like, oh my God, I can't really tell the world this, then you haven't gone strong enough. I want to tell people you're an expert. I want you to tell people that you are the best at what you do. No one is going to say, I bet she's even better than she says she is, right? You have to be the person that puts in your mind that you are the best in the industry.
Kind of like put your flag in the sand and own it. Like, this is me and this is why I'm fabulous.
If you need some help, come on over to Mimika or me and we will make sure that we let you know that you're really being confident about how you're portraying your expertise.
That's awesome. So that's a great tip. So definitely before they even get to read more about because we're assuming they read the whole profile. And most people will check it out on their phone, right? And there's an app they can check, and that's mostly the first things that get started. So what other tips would you say would be good?
Okay, so when I do speak on LinkedIn, I often do LinkedIn profile reviews for people that are at the show or the convention, and I would say half of the time people skip over their summary. It's the hardest part, right? It's where you have to talk about yourself. It's not where you put your title and what you do. It's where you say, I'm Karen Yankovich, and I'm so passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small business owners use social media profitably, right? So it's a hard part to do, but it's 2,000 characters, also indexed by Google, right? So use those keywords in there as well, and tell people, show a little bit of your heart in there. Show a little bit about, tell them what you're passionate about. Don't just, and I prefer using first person. I have to date never been able to be talked out of that. I'm willing to listen if you think you should use third person. There's a couple of people that feel like it's much more professional in a corporate world, but I think that it's your personal brand and you want people to feel like you're speaking to them. So use first person. Tell people and write it, by the way, if you have any expertise in how to write a sales page, right? You don't want one big giant paragraph. You want lots of white space, maybe a couple of bullet points. You want a call to action, right? So make it a little mini sales page and make it easy and use those keywords in it over and over. So when people scan down your profile from your headline into your summary, there's no doubt what it is that you do.
Exactly. So if they have a problem and they need a solution, that they want to know that you are going to provide that solution, because it's kind of a very fine line about bragging about yourself, and not going too resume based, because we're so used to and be trained from school, right, to list what we did, but that really doesn't. So somebody who's looking for, say, a consultant, a web designer, they don't really care where you went to school. They want to know, can you make a web design for me?
Exactly. And it's so funny that you said that, because I actually had a client one time where we have a service that we write LinkedIn profiles for people, and she is extraordinarily accomplished. I mean, you might even recognize her name. Obviously I can't share that, but she had accomplishments that many of us would never ever going to see. And when we wrote her profile, she called me up and she's like, I feel like I'm bragging. I was like, you did this stuff, you did this stuff. You need to own it. It's not about bragging. You want people, when they look at your profile, to feel so confident in doing business with you, because they've seen the other things where the other places you've had success, that it's a no-brainer for them to want to connect with you further, at the very least.
Definitely. So we want to build that confidence, and sometimes it is easier to actually have someone else write it for you, so it doesn't sort of feel, because you tend to hold each other back. And that's what I've done with some of my clients when they go through my visibility bootcamp, is how can we make you the perception around what you do and really tell them what it is without you watering it down. So those are some awesome tips. So
that's why on Linked Up in 30 we added the Facebook group as a support to the program, because we know that people need a little boost sometimes in writing that stuff about themselves.
Exactly. Well, that's totally awesome. So what other tip could you offer you say that we need to make sure?
Yep. So scrolling down the profile, right? Now you come down to experience, and I want you to all pay attention to this. If you hear nothing else, it does not say job titles. It says experience. So if you were the president of the board of directors, right, for a nonprofit, if you were the president of your local PTA, those are things that tell the world that there are other people that have confidence in you, that you're perceived as a leader, right? So those are things I want to see on your LinkedIn profile. And often, especially for women, maybe we have gaps. Maybe we stayed home and took care of our kids. I don't know about you, Mimika, but I don't know a single person that stayed home and took care of their kids and sat on the couch and ate bonbons for 10 years, right? So what did you do in those 10 years? Let's talk about that. Tell us about that. And let's find a way to position that in a way. I don't care if you coordinated play groups, right? There's ways that you can talk about the things that you did throughout your life. I mean, I tell my college kids all the time, if you worked in the school newspaper, put that in there. If you wrote the newsletter for your sorority, put that in there, because those are things that show that you have credibility, that people had trust in you, and that position you as a leader. So when you go through that section, don't just think about, well, I was a cashier at Macy's, right? Like, tell me what you did for Macy's. Maybe you did customer service. Maybe I don't know, I'm totally making stuff up here now, right? But position that in a way. I mean, I'll give you an example. A few careers ago, I owned a small sales organization, and I was the vice president of the company. We had about 10, 12 people at any given time. So there wasn't 10 vice presidents, and the president, who I adored, he was basically not on site. So I basically did everything. I took out the garbage. I made sure the electric bill was paid. I hired people. I fired people. I went out with salespeople on things. I bought furniture. Like, I did everything. But for the purposes of my LinkedIn profile, if you look at that on my profile, and it's Infinity Communications Group, I talk about the work I did around sales and marketing, because that rolls up to what I'm doing right now. Right? So if I was doing human resources right now, I would talk about the hiring and the firing, right? But I'm not doing that right now. So I'm not making it up. I'm not lying and creating things that are not authentic. But what I'm doing is I'm recreating the story of those careers to build up to where I am today, to support what I want people to feel, so people feel confident hiring me for their marketing. I'm not making things up. I'm not hiding things. It's about how you position yourself as influential, and how you create the careers around that to support that.
And it's basically like your highlight reel. Like, what do you want to highlight? Because yes, you don't want to downplay the experience you've had, but if it's not applicable to your kind of clients, it's really not. It's not going to move the needle very far. So you want to highlight the parts that are really in line. And I know I've done this several times. My career has taken over the 20 years I've been an entrepreneur. I've changed so many different times, different business models. I mean, I went from being a wedding photographer to a portrait photographer, and now I do more marketing and coaching. So I mean, as those things have evolved, there's certain elements we want to include. So kind of like, think of your highlight reel. Is that kind of what we want to look at?
Exactly. And but remember too that it's your personal brand. All of those things make you who you are today. So don't worry about, I mean, if you worked at McDonald's and you're afraid to put that on there, don't be, because somebody's going to come up to you one day and on LinkedIn and say, oh my gosh, I worked at McDonald's when I was in high school too. Remember coming home smelling like cheeseburgers? Like, that might be the one thing that somebody connects to, right? We've all have careers that evolved, and I don't know about you, but mine didn't go up a ladder, right? Mine took this
squiggly
roller coaster type thing, right? So just own it, and remember that it's your personal brand. It's not necessarily about your business, although you're positioning yourself as influential and as a trusted member of your business. It's about you. So all of those things make you who you are today.
Exactly. And the great thing is, it's not like it's written in stone. You can always go and test things and try and update things and all those kind of things. So let's talk about the profile photo, why that is so important on LinkedIn, because especially talking about a visual brain, because I know as a photographer, it really hurts my eyeballs when I see a bad photo, and it's like, seriously, what were they thinking?
Yeah, you know what? It is really important. And if you have never taken the time or invested a little money in getting a professional headshot done for yourself, today's the day. If it's an investment that you're really not comfortable making right now, then gather some friends together. If you're in a local networking group, gather some people together. If you're in a chamber of commerce, suggest that they have a LinkedIn profile party day, right? And share the cost of a photographer. Share the cost of hair and makeup. Often maybe there'll be people in your group that do those things, and they'll do it at a reduced cost, and then you'll share that. get some photos done and get them done pretty frequently, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Or actually any business owner that's going to be marketing themselves online. You want that to be a fairly fresh photo. It can't be 5 years old, right? Even if you love your picture from 5 years ago. So it's got to be a part of the business marketing that we do moving forward if we're marketing digitally. Because like I said earlier, people are Googling us. So this may be their first impression of you.
Well, personally, my preference for profile photos is really looking at the camera, because it's what really gets people connected with you. Like, it's okay if you're doing something artistic and you're looking to the side, or maybe like for a Facebook ad, but for profile photos, it's really important that the person actually makes eye contact, because that's what conveys trust, right? So kind of like looking down in a way isn't ideal, but at the same time as you want to make sure that it's clear. A good indication is if I can see the color of your eyes, then I know it's been done correctly. And often just keep it simple. We don't have to be fancy, right?
Well, and you know what? As I was saying that, I realized that, and we haven't talked about this at all yet, but LinkedIn, at the time that we're having this discussion, has announced major changes to the profile, and they haven't been rolled out yet. So I've seen them. I've seen them in some places where it has been rolled out to, I think, one person that I know in the whole world. And I've heard talk about them, and I've been privy to a little inside information on them. And one of the things it's gonna change. The profile picture is gonna be right smack in the middle of your profile now, not off to the left like it is now. So
it's visually, that's basically want to stop people in their tracks, right? If someone's searching for you on LinkedIn, and most other social media platforms, even like Facebook pages, have changed that your visuals are going to be super important.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because part of the changes to the LinkedIn profile is going to be, which is so a little heartbreaking to me, is that visuals are going away. So all the visuals that we have in our summary and so the header image is still there, but all of the media that we've got is completely going away.
So when you mean media, what do you mean by media?
So right now, if you go to my profile, you can see that you can look. I've got a couple of YouTube videos on there. I've got links to. You can upload media, right? So I've got a link to maybe a guest blog that I did, or a Huffington Post article that I've done, or maybe an interview that I've done. Or I tell my artist friends all the time, you can upload images for your portfolio, and they can all get added to each section, right? So if you've got blog posts or YouTube videos. The media has always been a part of our profile for the last few years. That is going away. There will not be any media in your profile anymore. It's just the text.
Wow. I wonder why they're doing that, because it's kind of crazy, right? That we're trying to get more visual, the more videos and visuals and easy ways for you can provide credibility. So it'll be interesting to see I'm sure there'll be lots of complaints when people start seeing the new rollouts.
Yeah, it will be interesting, but they're modeling it a little bit after the mobile version. So maybe what they're accommodating is the fact that many more people are accessing these sites on their mobile. So making sure that what you've got there is impactful even for mobile. Mm-hmm, that's all I can guess at this point. I don't have any real knowledge of that.
Well, it's like any social media platform. You've got to make an impression within, it used to be like 5 to 7 seconds. Now it's like 1 to 3. Like if you don't catch there. And the first thing that I know is I look at a photo. If someone has got a really bad selfie and a kind of picture of themselves in the car, what that tells me from a brand is, they're not really serious about their business. They don't really probably have money. It'll cost you $50 to get a decent headshot photo. Believe me, it doesn't have to cost that much. Just make it look
especially
professional.
If you combine forces with some friends. And I recommend LinkedIn profile parties. I'm actually doing one. So if you're in New Jersey, reach out to me.
Well, I host them too here. Like I have them like once a month. Everything from realtors to local business owners. Just basically have like I used to call them Facebook Fridays, but it's basically pop in one shot, done in the studio. It looks good. We can see your eyes. Obviously the ladies get their hair done and it looks fabulous, and it's so worth it because you use it everywhere.
Yes.
So we've talked about how the headline is important. We've talked about how describing what you do isn't about you, but about who you serve. And we've mentioned the importance of having a really good profile photo. So what would you say would be one takeaway tip if we had to look at that? And I know we will be going in more detail in our masterclass in the Worthy Revolution. So for the members, make sure to check that out. But if you had to wrap it up in one takeaway tip, what would you say?
Oh, one takeaway tip. Be confident. Be confident. Read through your profile and add confidence words. Add expert and see what you could do about elevating your profile from that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's some great advice. Like just think about up-leveling, adding more info. And of course you said you do the LinkedIn profile reviews. So if you want any more information, you want help, then make sure to reach out to Karen. But before we wrap up, let me remind you that if you want to be in this week's Goodie giveaway, you need to be in it to win it, which is go ahead and scroll below this video and enter our raffle. You only have 7 days from today's live air date to enter. So go ahead and do that. And what's the best place for people to find you?
So I'm at Karen Yankovich across all social media. My website is KarenYankovich.com. If you don't know how to spell Yankovich, you can go to KarenY.com and it'll get you to the same place, and all my social media links are there. But I'd love to be connected with you. I'd love to be connected with you on LinkedIn. And, that's how you can find me.
Exactly. Well, definitely go ahead. We'll have all the details and all the links in the show notes. Definitely reach out to Karen and let her know that you saw her on Worthy TV, because we always love to appreciate our guests who spend their valuable time with us to share their goodness with us. So I'm going to say thank you so much for that. And if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to click to subscribe and share it with your friends. I'm sure you know someone who would enjoy of what Karen had to share today. And add your comments below. We'd love to know what's your aha moments, your takeaways. What did you find useful that you're going to be using in your LinkedIn profile? We'd love to hear your success stories of how you've been able to implement that. And if you want more information that I only share with my newsletter community, you go to mimikacooney.com. I have a bunch of great downloads, especially you can join our Worthy Revolution group. And by going to worthyrevolution.com, you can join our Facebook group. So make sure to do that. Reach out and connect with us online. And we'd love to hear more about what you're learning here at Worthy TV. So thanks again, Karen, for joining me here. I'm so excited. We are going to be diving into more details in our masterclass, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to say thanks again for sharing your awesomeness with my community.
Oh, my absolute pleasure, Mimika. Thanks for having me here.
Be awesome. And as a great wrap-up, I always like to say, you need to believe in yourself. You are worth it. You can do what you love and be paid for living it. So welcome and thank you for joining us at Worthy TV. Until next time, take care.